I really do feel that it doesn't matter what your job is, where you work. It doesn't matter what your title says. I think if you really are customer focused, no
Yeah.
matter what you do, if you just try to help them navigate through whatever challenge it is and help it come to resolution, that you're going to be successful. That
Yeah.
goes regardless of what industry you're in.
Oh, yeah.
Having that customer focus first
Yeah.
is critical.
Are you ready to take your leadership skills in the manufacturing industry to the next level? Look no further. You're listening to the Leadership in Manufacturing podcast, and I'm your host, Sana Linding. I'm here to guide you through a journey of valuable insights, effective communication strategies, and the latest industry trends. Tune in now as we bring you exclusive insights from respected industry leaders in the supply chain, manufacturing sector, and manufacturers representative. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm your host, Sana Linding, and welcome to Mind Innovation Manufacturing Leadership Podcast. I want to introduce today's guest, Holly Good. She's the Director of Global Distribution Sales at Knowles Precision Devices based in the greater Boston area. With extensive experience in sales, marketing, operation, and supervisory roles in the electronic industry, Holly has proven track record of navigating challenging situations and finding solutions. So welcome to the show, Holly.
Thank you. I'm really glad we were able to do this today.
Yeah, I'm so excited as well. So I'm always want to hear, when I have people on, right, industry leaders on the show here, I want to hear that passion. So I want to ask you, what drives your passion for the electronics industry?
Well, I have to tell you, I got into it accidentally. It wasn't something I aspired to. I stumbled into it many years ago, but built a career in it. And I think what makes me passionate about it is that there's just so many different opportunities, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to feel that there's only one thing to do in the electronics industry. It's just so vast and it is dynamically changing all the time. And I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about my career because I have never felt stagnant. When I, had done something for a while and felt like, okay, I'm ready to learn the next thing. There
yeah,
are so many different things to learn in this
yeah.
industry. And you don't even have to change companies, you can stay where you're at and learn something new. And the electronics industry is just so dynamic and changing. So I think
Yeah.
that's what has always kept it fresh for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I actually listened to another podcast today.
Oh,
No, but it actually said, that they love within the whole manufacturing and electronic industry, right? That it has an impact of making your life, the quality better. So I think if we're zooming out, right, even if it's the product, if it's components, whatever it is, it has an impact of our daily life. So I actually really like that one.
I do too. I remember, when my son was growing up, I would be, maybe at a store with him or something, and I'd point something out and I'd say, hey, this is a customer of mine, and
Yeah,
let me tell you why. And this is, when mommy sells this product and it goes into this, whatever it was. Usually it was some type of equipment, right? You were
yeah,
at the store and you'd see something, and it could be anything from, a power supply inside of something, but it was always a great opportunity where I point out a customer name and say, hey, I know them. We sell
yeah.
part right into this. So it's fun. It is a
It's
fun
fun. Yeah,
industry.
it is. It is.
Changed so much.
Yeah, no, and I was still I'll show products in Home Depot, right? When I worked for Acuity Brands, I was
Absolutely.
like, look at these, And
Absolutely.
families like whatever. Yeah. No. Okay, I love your LinkedIn title. So because you are having the director of getting shit done, and we're just saying it right here. So tell me the story behind that one.
Well, it's funny. It came about last year. I was at an electronics industry event, a local networking event with women electronics in the Boston area. And there was a group of us together and we were talking about LinkedIn and who uses it and how do they use it? And, do we think people really read it or go on it?
Yeah.
And, that night when I was driving home, I was kind of thinking about it a little bit. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make an update and see if there's a reaction to it, if people notice that I've made this change. And so the whole director of getting shit done, that kind of started one of my sales reps, had called me, this goes back years, and said, I know this isn't really something you do, but I know that you can help me, get the answer because you're who I go to get these things done.
Yeah.
So that night I went home and I changed my headline on under my LinkedIn to say, I've been referred to as this director of getting shit done because I help people navigate challenging situations and come to a conclusion. So I did that, kind of just as a like challenge. Like, is anything going to happen? Do people really read this? And when I tell you, within I think 24 hours, I got a message on LinkedIn from somebody I didn't know. But they, I think, were searching my company and maybe just trying to find, somebody they didn't know what to do. And
Yeah.
they sent me a message and said, "Hey, I noticed your profile and I'm wondering if you can help me. I'm not sure how to approach this." And so, of course, I connected him with the right people, and we
Yeah.
got, his question solved. But it kind of showed me the power that LinkedIn has, and
Yeah.
it proved that absolutely people are going on LinkedIn regularly. They're going out to find out about your company. They're going out to find people who, maybe can help them. And so, it was a good exercise. I'm proud of actually that little tagline there because I really do feel that it doesn't matter what your job is where you work. It doesn't matter what your title says. I think if you really are customer focused, no
Yeah.
matter what you do, if you just try to help them navigate through whatever challenge it is and help it come to resolution, that you're going to be successful. That
Yeah.
goes regardless of what industry you're in.
Oh, yeah.
Having that customer focus first
Yeah.
is critical.
Yeah. I think that's another angle as well, right? Because it also gives a little perspective of your customers of saying, I don't know how to find this information, either, if I'm going on the website or if I've been in a presentations, right? But
Right.
going to you and then you actually connect. Maybe they're lazy, hopefully they're not that, but it could be a reflection of saying, hey, you should actually make it easier on your website as well to
Right.
say, hey, how do we help you to connect you to the right person. But I love
Yeah.
your title. I think it's awesome. I think it's really fresh and brave, and just do something fun as well on LinkedIn. I love it.
I think, I didn't do it as in like a braggy way, right? It was just kind of a thing. And it was funny. I'm like, I wonder have people take this the right way or not? I don't mean it to be anything other than, hey, let me help you. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it works, right? And it also helps building the relationship and your professional network as well. Let us pivot a little bit here, because I want to talk about, customer satisfaction. And it is a little bit, right? You are helping. So how do you measure and how do you improve your customer relationship and yeah, and make it better?
Okay. So I think, it's funny. I think we're in this time of survey, right? Everybody surveys customers. I found myself, just doing a return at Kohl's a week ago, and there's a survey. Can we do this survey and let me know how your experience is? And there's value in survey to some degree, but at
Yeah.
some point, I think people get overloaded. I don't do all the surveys that I'm asked to do. I'll only do it if somebody was exceptional or something was really mediocre because I want
Oh,
to, right? It's one extreme or the other. It's
yeah.
not just that, hey, everything was great.
No.
It was
Yeah.
good today.
Yeah.
So what I find best for me is I just go directly and ask my customers. I just say, you know what, while I'm here today, can you let me know what can I do differently to be a better service to you?
Yeah.
I know I only know what I know, right? So there's other people out there, other companies that might do things differently. And so I just go right out and ask and say, is there something additional that we can do or I personally can do better to be a better solutions provider for you, a better resource for you? I think that's the best way. And I feel people are honest. They'll
Yeah.
say, you know, there's one thing that you're not doing today, that, if you guys could add this, either, the company that you work for can add this to, the repertoire of things you do, or if you personally, I need to see you more frequently, they'll come right out and tell you, right?
Yeah.
So I just ask. I
Yeah.
think, that's the most straightforward way. I think there is value in survey if it's not overused, because some people prefer that they don't you don't have to say who you are exactly, right? So they want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
But the customers that I work with, I just ask, is there anything that needs to be done differently in order to make us best in class?
Yeah.
In order to, make me a better resource for you and to help my company be even better. So I just ask. I think that's the best way to do it.
I agree, right? It's the whole communication, and what better way to, as you're saying, it's to ask, right? Instead of filling out all these questions, and then maybe you
Ah,
get a gift
it's so
certificate.
many,
Yeah,
so many.
yeah. Do you have any other examples? You're saying, one of the examples you said was, I want to see you more frequently. Any other examples you can share of what kind of feedback you got?
I will say it's usually great feedback, right? Which is good.
Yeah,
I hope that I can kind of set the bar for others too. But I know people have, come back and given suggestions, and sometimes it's about, um, you know, bringing information back to the organization and what can we do differently as a company. It might just be adding an additional EDI document or
yeah,
something simple that you take for granted. Or, hey, well, your policy on this is a little bit tight. Some others, allow us to do this, this, and that. And that's the type of feedback people will give you
that
once you build
helps.
that relationship.
Yeah,
So it's usually just that open dialogue
dialogue.
about what you need to do to become best in class, because I think that's what everyone wants to be. They want to
Yeah.
set the standard. You want your company that you're representing to be a company that is thought of as, the standard in what they do. So
Yeah. No. So you could also say, right, even if it's not as good feedback, right? It's the bad one, but call it a
right.
gift, right? If you call it
It
a
is.
gift, it's a gift for your company to change, right? And actually turn it into something positive, and then you can become that best in class. So
Absolutely.
you
And I
have to
think
listen to the negative, right?
you do, and I think that's really what I'm asking for the most
Yeah.
part. I'm not looking for a pat on the back. I'm looking for what can we do better? What can I do differently? What can my company do better to help us all get to that next level
Yeah.
together, right? To
Yeah.
become a really more solid partner with, and in my case, I manage distributors. So for me, I'm working with distributors directly and trying to make sure that we're doing all the right things to be a good partner and one of the best partners that they have.
Nice. What about, I want to talk a little about efficiency and being productive because it's always a balance, right? Because we are bombarded with emails every day when you get up and on a Monday, right? And you have your meetings. So what's your personal advice, how to balance to be efficient and productive?
It's a struggle. I'm not going to lie. But what I've done is I shut off my notifications and I block off. I think it's called focus time now on Outlook, because I was finding that people, yeah, I manage my calendar tight,
Yeah,
right? And people will look for that little opening in that little time slot and try to, get you in a meeting
yeah,
sometimes. So I've had to be really better about, I shut off my email notifications because I realized what was happening to me is sometimes at the end of the day, I'd have like 7 things in draft email that I thought I finished,
yeah,
right? But I was in the middle of it and then I got distracted because I bounced to something else. Um, so time management is a challenge for me personally. That's what I've done. I shut off my notifications and I block off focus time where I just work. I go through, my list of things because I do tend to sometimes flutter from project to project, and
oh, we
sometimes
all
you just
do. Come on.
I know. It's getting harder and harder, Senna.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's my things I've made a point to do most recently is block off focus time just to
Yeah,
really go through my action list and make sure things are, being driven to conclusion. And I shut off all the notifications
yeah.
because they were really a problem for me. I think I had a attention deficit disorder my whole life that was never diagnosed, but
Yeah. No, and if
I'm
you have that notification, right, it's like the new shiny thing, right? And then
it
you
is.
go over and like, oh, and then it's like, oh, is that burning or not burning? Should I answer the customer? And then you jump. So
You do.
I really like your approach. I like to have days where I do not have meetings at
I
all
know.
because as you're saying, if it breaks up, suddenly you have maybe 30 minutes before you have the next meeting, and in that 30 minutes, sometimes there's not enough time to dive in and actually solve something and get it finished and done. Then you can sit and do the smaller emails, or you can read an email and you're like, oh, that will take me even longer. And then you need to put that on your, somewhere on your list if you have a list, right, of what you're
And I
working on.
want to feel accomplished at the end of the day. And
Yeah,
sometimes if you don't finish something, you just don't get that feeling of accomplishment, and yet you've done a lot of other things, but it wasn't what you intended to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I have these chunks of time I just started blocking off in my day so that
Yeah.
I could accomplish. I do work to deadlines. I'm
Yeah.
very guilty of that, and I look to see like, okay, when is this done? And I kind of do like the order of working
Yeah.
up to that deadline. But the only way to meet your deadlines is to have that focused time. So that's really something I found I have to do just in order
Yeah.
to be efficient.
No, I really like that one. What we have to learn, right? In this industry, things are moving fast and we disruption, it happens not every day, but there is a lot of going on every year. So we have to pivot or we have to learn, if it's software, if it's AI, whatever we talk about. So how do you learn?
Well, so I've had the benefit of having a new job at a new company and not having to leave because the company that I worked for 12 years was acquired in November by Knowles Corporation. So
Yeah.
immediately now I am learning every single day, right? So I'm learning all the new processes.
Yeah.
I do say it's the best of both worlds because we still have everything I knew from my current company, when
Yeah.
I was at Cornell Jubileer, and now there is everything new to learn. So, that doesn't happen to everyone every day, but right now I'm in that big learning curve of just being part of a new company. But personally, I just signed up for Coursera. There's things I'm interested in, in growing my skills, and so I'm an online learner. I do well with that. So sometimes for me, it's just, picking a class or two, that doesn't take too long, maybe, 20
Yeah.
hours or so, but I can do that in a month just to stay current because things are changing so fast. Sometimes I hear a buzzword in a meeting and I'm like, I don't even know what that is,
It's
right?
yeah.
Because technology is moving so fast and you just kind of get into that groove of what you currently do. So for me, it's just hopping on different webinars, listening to podcasts just to continue to learn
Yeah.
and try new things. So right now I'm working on my project management because I see, where I need to improve on certain things. So
Yeah.
that's the current class I'm working on just to improve in that area. Being with a bigger company, it's a bigger scale. Things
Yeah.
are a little bit different. So I look to utilize things that are available, technology wise online, and just kind of going out personally and
So,
doing those
oh, that's good.
things.
So you sleep well at night if there's so much learning going on right now.
I do. I do.
Yeah, no,
Because it's like
that's
complete exhaustion.
yeah. No, that's a lot. It is a lot. So with communication, I think that's an ongoing skill, right? To learn to talk inside your organization, within your team, with customers, right? For you for distribution. So how do you, or if you have an advice of how to, how what's not, I don't know, maybe the word is best in class, but it's you have to evolve every day and change, right? So any advice you want to give of how to keep that communication or that transparency? Because I think that's so important as well that's going on.
I think that's the key right there. Don't you have to be open. You do have to be transparent. And if you don't know something, it's fine. I often say, let me, I will get an answer for you. I'm not actually, the expert on this, but I will find out and get back to you, right? I
Yeah,
don't think everyone expects us to know everything. But I believe part of good communication is just saying, I'm going to find out for you and I will get back to you. And then follow up. Just do what you say you're going to do. I think that's critical. If you tell somebody you're going to get back to them, make a point to get
yeah,
back to them, even if you don't have the information.
yeah,
Sometimes for me, it's that, quick email. I haven't forgotten you. This is still pending. This is when we expect to get back to you. And people value that. That's part
yeah,
of communication. It's not always giving good news. Sometimes it's just saying, hey, I don't have the information, but continuing to communicate that it's being
yeah,
worked on. So I would say, the best way to communicate is to be forthcoming. You have to feel comfortable not always telling people what they want to hear, and make sure that you get back to them when you say you're going to, even if you don't have everything right at that moment. Sometimes that's uncomfortable. I hate calling people and missing a deadline or being, delinquent on something, but at least if they know it hasn't gone into the abyss. I hate when people have to go back. I hate when I have to go back to people and say,
Yeah. Hello.
"Hi,
Yeah. Yeah.
still waiting," right?
Yeah.
Just say to me, "I don't have this, but I'm my, you know, new expected date is this."
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's part of it because then people can work around it, right?
Yeah.
If you can work around that due date. So for me,
It is.
best in class is just continuing to communicate, good or bad, and let people know when they can expect to hear from you.
Yeah. And personal reflection here, right? I have to get my son's car fixed. Um, and I had to call 3 times where I left a
Ugh,
message. And then the line, I'm like, I called yesterday, I'm calling again today, please follow up, right? And then the guy called back and he's like, oh yeah, we didn't have got the replacement part yet, right? But we have it now. And so I wouldn't call you back. And I'm like, I just wanted to hear that you were
wanted
working
to
on it
know,
because it was like that black hole, right? Of like, what's going on?
right?
So it's
I
just,
agree with
yeah,
you.
even though, yeah, it's just, and it takes time, but it builds more trust, I think.
It
Even just
does.
going back, right? Because I was like getting not anxiety, right? But I was like, what is I was like thinking, what is going on, right? It's okay that it will take 10 more days, but it was just like, what is going on?
And I have to say, I find myself very not critical of customer service, but because I have a high standard within, my daily work, right?
Yeah,
When I have a company like the insurance company, right, that I deal with, I have high standards. But I think this is where, this is important. I think regardless of what industry you're in, to me, customer service has a value, and it's not the price, right? I mean, I that is secondary in a lot of ways.
yeah,
It's about, the service, it is about the product, but it's not about the price. I go to the grocery store that is 2 miles from me, and they're not the lowest price at all, but I'm in that case, I'm paying for convenience, and I'm paying for,
yeah,
the service because the people are the same that have been there, I know, right? But it's like your mechanic.
yeah,
It's like if you just they're gonna build a relationship with you where you'll always go there if they
yeah.
provide that good service. And
Agree.
that goes the same for regardless of the industry.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I think it's really important, right, to put yourself in the shoes of your customer. Even back
Right.
to the with your, with your LinkedIn title, right? To put in to say if they can't find, right, who to ask or how to ask or get in that right direction, be in these shoes, and then you can find the way. But keep helping. It's always good to help,
That's
right?
it.
Yeah.
Be a resource.
Yeah. So I want to talk about when you meet, when you're expanding your network. How do you expand it, and how do you keep nurturing? Because we are all busy, right? And you just said, you needed to set the notification off, but we also need to be sure that we are expanding on it.
I mean, LinkedIn is a perfect place to do that, right? When when you're connected with someone else and you notice somebody commented on their post and maybe you're not connected with them, but you have similarities or you thought the same way, like, yeah, they reacted to this and this is exactly how I feel. Make that quick connection and just say, hey, I noticed you are connected to Sana, and we haven't met, but I agree with you. I think this is topic that I feel strongly about. So
Yeah.
that's one way you can do that. I also, make sure I connect with, I might be out doing a virtual training or something with, customer where I don't know every single person who's on that training, but I make a point to try to get that list of who went on and send them a note afterwards,
Yeah.
just saying, thanks for attending and building that connection because there are so many degrees, right? And,
Yeah.
you never know when you can help people get together. I just tried to connect to people today. I'm like, I knew somebody who was looking to hire, and I knew somebody who was looking for some opportunity, and you kind of put them together. So I think the larger your network, the more people you can help, right, and
Yeah.
put together. But I love using LinkedIn just for that reason.
Yeah. Oh, I love the platform, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. Okay, let's talk about advice. So if you were like looking at yourself and you had to give you an advice for like 10 years ago, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Hmm. Well, I think I'd say stay the course and just continue to do, if it feels right in your gut, it's right for you. Right. So, there's different times in your life where different things are right for you. You
Yeah.
might, you might in your head have these certain aspirations, but the timing in your life might not be right. So for me, it's just stay the course because, when that opportunity is right, it kind of just, it works its way out. When I started at Cornell Jubileer, I started in product marketing, and that was right for me at that time. That was my first job at a manufacturer. My background had been in distribution and I had worked for a rep. And when I came to work at a manufacturer, I started in product marketing.
Yeah.
And then it was also timing, just sometimes it works out that way. But staying within Cornell, I was able to do different jobs and ultimately landed within, managing the distribution channel there. And, it was all the timing. I stayed the course. When that opportunity came up, it was a good time for me. My son was now older. I was able to travel. And, when he was younger, that was not a choice that
Yeah.
I wanted to make at that time. So for me, it was stay the course because ultimately things will align, with where you want to go. Everybody has different timings, you know, uh, everybody's life is different, and for me, I wasn't prepared to travel as extensively as I do now, until the last 10 years, really. I really didn't have that desire. But, so for me, it's just stay the course,
Yeah.
because things will work out if you know what you want, you just kind of stay true to yourself and stay the course.
Yeah. And it's a journey, right? And it helps
It
you in
is
the
a journey.
position you have now because you've been in different chairs within the industry. So that helps you as well of having good reflection of, what's needed and what's not needed.
Yes.
Nice. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, how can they connect with you?
Well, I am on LinkedIn.
Yay!
That's probably good.
Search
So
the
that is
director. Yeah.
that is the best way to
Uh,
find me, and,
Awesome.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I would say that is the best thing, so thank you.
Perfect. Okay, I'll put that in the show notes and also on the episode page on mindinnovation.com. But they will be you will be easy to find. Don't worry.
You will find
So
me.
yeah, you will find me. So okay, so Holly, thank you so much. I think it was great, and I think the one I'm doing it, but getting the reminder from you saying right, put off these notifications, take some time and concentrate. I think that's one of the best key learnings that I have, and as you said, right, do it, recommend it. That's the way you can focus in the world right now.
It is. Well, I thank you for having me. It was great to catch up with you.
Thank you. If you like Leadership in Manufacturing podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share the show wherever you get your podcast. You can follow Sana Vinding and Leadership in Manufacturing on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Make sure to check our website. It's called leadershipinmanufacturing.com. Stay curious, keep learning. See you next time.